Mobile Welding 101. How to get started, how to make the money, how difficult it is. Is it for you? Should you do it? Just want to answer a few questions, fam. Good grand rising, grand rising. My name is Black Feniks. I'm the owner of HogOn Welding and the founder of HogOn University. In this rising, I wanted to talk to you about mobile welding. Right now, I have a small setup here. I actually removed my welding skid out the back of the truck, and I have my mobile setup that I use, which is how I basically got started, a smaller setup, but this is actually a newer setup. But I got a 140 unit here, and I have the small torch setup, the spool gun, and I have two different welders in a toolbox with my tools and personal hand tools. Those are some things that you can use, fam, to get you started. I have seen people, when I moved out to Phoenix, Arizona, I seen people pull up in Honda Accords, family, with a small welding units in the back of the truck or in the back seat, and they start making money. So it all depends on what you're trying to do, but you can get started at mobile welding as soon as you get the skill set. Now, when you're doing some mobile welding, there's a couple things that's going to play into play. Depends on what you're doing. If you're just doing welding alone, someone broke something, you're just going out fixing the weld, that's a different skill set. If you're just, if you're not a fabricator. So, if you're not a fabricator, you ain't gonna really be able to get the money that when it comes to making things and actually putting them in and then welding them up as well. Or being an installer. Some people can weld, they can install, but they can't fabricate, or they can weld and they can't install or fabricate. So it all depends on what type of seasoned welder you are. Grand rising, family, grand rising, HogOn. Thanks for checking in, HogOn, fam. It all depends on what type of welder you are. But I do want to say this, getting started, you don't have to break the bank, family. You don't have to break the bank. You can get you a used unit. I say you can get you a used unit off of Craigslist, pawn shops, OfferUp, Facebook Market, whatever you have to do to get yourself into the field, you can get started after you get your skill set. So some people ask me, what is the main thing on doing mobile welding that I do the most? And I'm gonna be honest with you, the most I do, the most process I do anyway, is flux core. I do a lot of flux core, and stick welding be the main two processes I use majority of the time. I made more money that way. Someone asked me, when I first made my first $100,000 welding, it was actually doing flux core and stick welding, 70-18 and flux core. So, it's a big thing when you're in the field and traveling, from iron working, from being a millwright, from doing working in shops, fabrication shops, doing metal buildings, doing prefab buildings. It's a lot of different things that flux core and stick welding can kind of come in and help, set yourself up real good financially. So don't think that it can't work. It can. Now, once you start advancing your skills and you start learning more into the pipe welding and get into that, there's great money into that. I made money into that too. Once you get into more TIGging, there's great money into that. But my thing is, when you're being independent or you're trying to form your own business, we try to figure out a way we can make money from our skills without having to punch a clock, or without having an overseer or someone telling us what to do, but actually using our own skill set, knowing what to do, showing up on time, doing the job, finishing it on time, and then going to the next. So if I had to give any type of pointers about mobile welding, I would say is learn all you can before you dive into it. I would say be more diverse into it. Learn how to fabricate, learn how to install, and learn how to weld in and out position. I want to say that because sometimes when certain shop welders, they're used to welding in position where everything is fixed and easy. Well, when you're in the field and you're doing mobile repairs, majority of the time being outside, things are not going to be perfect. The blueprints might not, line out right, especially when you adding on to something that was already existing. You might have some rust. It might be a lean. You might have to trim something to make it right. It's a lot of different things that play into part. So just don't be a welder alone. I love to say that because most people say, man, I just want to weld. There's nothing wrong with just burning, but if you do it, your earning is going to be low. You're only going to get so much. I only seen, unless if you into the military or you into working on aircrafts, or you want to be a specialty welder, you want to work for a company where all they do is weld and they pay you top dollar, then you know that is possible. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I would say learn more than welding. Add more to your plate. Learn how to read prints, because all these things is going to help build you as an individual, especially if you're transitioning from going to school and wanting to do your own thing, or going from working for someone and want to dive into your own thing. I would say get all the information you can, but it is possible. It is easy, you can do. And like I say, it's the simple as getting you some small equipment. As far as price wise, you know, when I got started, it was around, I used literally family $500. Around $500 got me started independently. And that was all used equipment, And so if I can start with just I think I had a SP135 unit, an older Lincoln unit, and all I did was flux core with it, and then I started, you know, going up from there. But you got to start from somewhere. So right now I'm using this unit. I took my welding skid out, and that's a whole nother business. I want to talk about that, because when you're using your gas units versus your electrical units, you got two different pays you can get. So using this unit, I would say starting out at a minimum, I wouldn't do no mobile repairs with your small unit, a straight plug up unit, no less than 35. I would say ranging from around $35 to $75 an hour, depends on what you're doing. If you're just welding, if they're coming to you, if you're going to them, all that plays into part. If you got to use your personal vehicle to get there. I say 35 is the less, because that way you can at least pay yourself $20, and then you'll pay your machine $15 an hour. That's what you got to think business, so you can invest back into your equipment and make sure you get your money back out of that. But I wouldn't go no less than that. My rule of thumb is about $50, and I would say at least have a minimum as far as your time. So I would say at least have a 2 to 4 hour minimum, maybe a 4 hour minimum on the weekends or on the Sundays, and on, you know, through the week you have a regular 2 hour minimum. And if someone comes to you, you can be able to, you know, assist them if they come to you with whatever they're trying to work on. So it all depends on what you're doing, but I say that being mobile, fam, is a plus. It can change your life. You can make money. There's a lot of money in it. Taxes isn't hard. Some people get scared about the taxes. There's a lot of CPAs out here. There's a lot of different things you can learn on your own as well. Grand Rising. Thanks for checking in, fam. There's a lot of people out here right now who can actually assist you when it comes to mobile welding. But one thing I do want to say, sometimes you can be a good mobile welder and you're in a small place, small community. Step outside of that area, family. If it's an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, whatever you got to go to hit a city where what you got to offer can be more of a need, then do that. If you have to travel first, you know, 2 hours outside. So I would say, on being smart, traveling at least 2 hours from where you're from every day to do work isn't bad, because you can still travel back home as long as the gas and everything is included. A lot of people do that, fam. So don't think that you got to stay in a small area when you get started. Travel about a 2 hour radius outside your area. Some people do an hour, but I say at least 2. Let me lock that in. I see some messages popping up. Make sure I got everybody locked in. Grand Rising, thanks for checking in. Salute from the motherland. Salute. So I just wanted to say that have a bare minimum. Be willing to travel, because you're gonna have to be willing to travel outside your area, or relocate. So sometimes it's better to relocate if things is not going on in your area. Don't be afraid to go to an area where, you know, something is actually going, so that way your skill set can be more. Now I do want to give you some a quick game on how to tap in on different networking sources. So we all know that majority of people, when they go to Home Depot and Lowe's, they got money, right? And the majority of the people that be in there a lot of the times are contractors, homeowners, realtors, stuff like that, checking out projects. And in there, they actually got bulletins in there where you can actually go in there and put your card or flyer showing this is what you do. And if it's something that coincides with what they're doing, like they're working on homes, they might need some staircase, some handrails, some, you know, some a little fence here or there, or a small gate. there you go. And you'd be surprised how many people can pick up on you if you do things like that. Now, if you're in an area where they don't have things like that, or some areas that you can be in, it might be a small area, but they still won't let you put your flyer up. I done been in small areas like that, so I know how that goes. So just network, do a little networking. And when you're being a fabricator, most definitely when you're a fabricator, you'll be surprised on what you can do. So think outside the box, but I would want to say, when you're doing your mobile welding, it's all on you, fam. You know, you went from working from someone else to now you're working for you. So you are responsible for when you get up, when you get there, from calling people, being your secretary, making the moves until you can be able to get enough money up so that way you can control everything. But until then, you are in control. So if anyone have any questions, man, feel free to drop them down there, man. I want to answer any questions when it comes to mobile welding, when it comes to getting started, on type of money you need. You don't have to break your bank. Like I say, you can get, I would say on a minimum, I wouldn't get a unit no less than a 140, because the 140s can at least well up to 516, so it gives you a range. If you go smaller, you know, you have a less range. So I at least try to get you a 140. You can get started, you can plug them up. Most people will let you plug up at their house. You got the 110/120 units, you can use them. You can plug up at houses, at shops, and just give them a fair price for plugging up. Now, like I say, most of them say, hey, since you're not using your gas unit, I'm gonna charge X amount of dollars an hour. You know, I haven't had any problems with it. So I would say do that, and that can still get you some money while you're waiting. But you're gonna have to advertise, you're gonna have to network, you're gonna have to get your name out there. So think of that as well as you building your mobile welding business. So I just wanted to come to you early and talk to you about that briefly. And I also wanted to talk to you about the hoods. I got 2 different hoods sitting out here for a reason. So this is more of my fabrication hood. I can just put this on my head. This one I fabricate, and I can do field weld. I do field welding and stuff with this. This is actually a Lincoln series, a 3350 series. You know, you can, you know, get on weld. I don't really promote Lincoln. I'm not being sponsored by them, but I do promote their brands because that's what I use, you know, personally. You know what I mean? But I think you should have one like this. That's a regular hood you can put on, and then you need one where you can put your hard hat on, and then you can connect this to your hard hat. I think this right here is very valuable to have, because when you're on OSHA or MSHA or certain job sites that require you to have PPE on at all times, you know what I mean? So keep that in mind when you're building your independence. So I wanted to show you that, but you can get started without having a real big setup. You can get these units as long as you know how to set them right, set your gas right. My bottles has lasted me a while, and you know, it's all about knowing how to set them, how to cut, knowing what thickness you cut. But you can do a lot with these, you know what I mean? I use this a lot, so don't get discouraged. You can just find you something, but get started, fam. Or if you're not going to be doing any cutting, then you won't need that. But it all depends on what you need. But don't think you got to break the bank. That's all I want to say. Don't think you got to break the bank to get started, but you do have to get started. So I just wanted to go live real quick and give y'all some small updates. About to get ready to let y'all go, but I want to say, if you jump into the mobile welding business, I think it's profitable, especially coming into 2023. You see the wind starting to pick up out here, fam. The sky starting to look a little funny. But I just wanted to say, man, if you're jumping into the mobile welding business, don't break the bank, but you do have to get started. Get started, get started, get started. And for those who want to get their HogOn with me, make sure you check out the website, HogOn Welding.com. Check out some of the things I have to offer. You can get the welding skid prints on there for $100. You can download them and build your own. Also check out Amazon, Amazon.com. You can go there, you get you some gear, get you some HogOn t-shirts, some hoodies, some zip hoodies, some sweaters, whatever it is you like to wear, man, and get your HogOn with me. Y'all be blessed. Continues to prosper, family. I'm out. Black Feniks. Yes, you can use that. Before I go, you can use that 125. It does work, but a 140 is better in my personal opinion. Be blessed, fam.